Hello and welcome to this week's episode of My CP Does Not Define Me, where we focus less on the this and more on the ability of what we can do. Join us each and every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, live on the Disability Global Broadcast, Facebook Live, and LetGoRadio.net. Looking forward to seeing you there.
What's up, everybody? It's D to the J with a roll away, and it's Wednesday at 7 p.m. Yes, that's right. It's the hump day of the week once more, and it is time for episode 105 or 106. I've lost count. I've done so many episodes, I'm not even sure what number I'm on. I think it's 105, but it should be 106. I'm not sure. The flyer says 106, but I think it's 105. I don't know. I have so many. It's just, they're just there, and we're going, and here we are. I'd like to welcome everybody to the show today. We are broadcasting live on Facebook, YouTube, the Three Amigos like page. We are broadcasting from StreamYard on LetGoRadio.net and the Disability Global Broadcast. Thank you for everybody for tuning in. Hope everybody is having a great day. I have had this young lady on my show once before. It has been a long time since she's been back. And when we last talked, she had just moved into an apartment independently and gotten on her own. I'm going to let Miss Marie introduce herself and tell our wonderful fans about herself. Welcome to the show, Marie. Thank you for being here.
Hi, I'm Marie. How's everyone out there in social media land? DJ interviewed me about 2 years ago. I've been living on my own for 2 years now and just living an independent life on 6 legs. Two on me, four on the walker. 6 legs to independence. So
now you like you said, you've been living on your own for about 2 years now. So how are things going with that? I mean, I know you love the area that you're in, and you're
good.
mhm.
Go ahead.
And you're walking every day, right? No.
I usually do. I just haven't had time to work over the summer. I had a busy summer. I was
Mhm.
going to school this summer. So
Okay. So what did you go to? So you said you went to school. What did you major in when you went to school?
it wasn't like a college school.
Mm-hmm.
A college course. It wasn't like a college course. I actually wanted to come on here to tell everyone about this program because it's a free program by the government for people with any type of physical disability. I was on the Cerebral Palsy Network Research Network page a while ago, signing up for a conference for RJ Mink, and I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to see him, and they had me check off a box about mentoring, and I thought it was gonna like give me my mentor certification or something. So I checked off the box without even like thinking, and about 2 or 3 months later, I received a call from the mentor group,
Mm-hmm.
and they had interviewed me, and it was totally not what I was thinking of. So, it's a mentor program that is funded by the government. It's called Mentor. It's mindfulness, exercise, nutrition, mindfulness, exercise, nutrition to optimize optimize your resilience. And yes, and it was, you take a course in mindfulness. You do an hour mindfulness every week. You take a course in exercising 2 days a week. You take a course in nutrition once a week. And you take a course in health coaching once a week. And it people all over the U.S. The program is based between Virginia and Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
So actually the people that run it, the people that have the grant is this program called Sportable. Have you? I think there's one by you in your area.
Hmm. I
It's,
haven't heard of that, but I know of a store location that's like that, but not the program.
so
So
it is a store location, but it runs the program.
oh, okay, cool.
So yeah. And then so those people run the program, and then they're Sportable out in Burlingame, Alabama, that run the program too.
Okay, okay.
And go ahead.
So when you do the classes, are that is it like a Zoom meeting or
Yes, it's awesome. It's a 5 hour Zoom. An hour a day, 5 days a week for 8 weeks.
okay? And Christina actually just put the link in the comments here.
Oh, thank you, Chris.
Yep, yep. She I know now you said you do all of the exercise class once a week, the nutrition class once a week. And then there's another class like twice a week. Is it the can you alternate days or is it the same pretty much every day or
No,
how?
it's Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. They try not to go over time, but we usually go over time because the program is very new, so
Mhm.
they want everyone that does the program to put their input in,
Okay.
and so it's
It
awesome.
sounds pretty I mean it sounds pretty
Yeah.
interesting. Is it basically teaching you to be a mentor? Is that kind of
No, actually, they might in the future ask me to work for them or
Mhm.
ask one of the former students to work for them. So and I did not realize when they signed up for this course and got interviewed, they said they would send me equipment for the class, like I thought, material for the class.
Mhm.
I thought they would send me books, or whatnot. They sent me a whole gym set. And
Whoa.
it was all free. I got like a free hand leg bike. Um, I got like a yoga mat, yoga blocks, yoga balls.
Whoa.
Every stretch band imaginable that you think of, from your yellows to your blacks.
So the different resistance, yeah, that's and those things are expensive. They aren't
Oh
cheap at
yeah,
all.
yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah. So in this program's all government based, so it's
So it sounds like they focus on your well-being all the way around for each person that signs
Yep,
up.
physically and mentally
Wow,
and
that's awesome.
emotionally and eating healthy. You do a lot of self reflection and a lot of reading in this course. This is what I'm actually doing now. I haven't wrote on my blog at all summer because I was busy with them. So whatever I wrote, like I had to write like 15 essays, and
And you
then
say this is not a college course, and you got to write 15 essays. Good.
yeah,
Hey,
like on reflection and stuff. It was like awesome.
wow.
Um, and then you meet awesome people around the country. Like you said, you take what you want from the class with the exercise and the nutrition class. It's not all like it's based on what you could do in the exercise class. It's where they give you so much material for the
So
exercise.
they make it adaptable. Yeah, that's awesome. Christina says it sounds like a great program. I don't even have yoga blocks. LOL. Fancy. And
Yeah, yeah,
then she says she's very happy for you. So talking about this program that you're in with eating healthy and working out with all the different equipment that is that you and the whole thing was you weren't expecting it.
yeah.
How are you feeling now? I mean, as far since you started the program, do you feel different?
I feel different, physically and emotionally, because
Hmm.
I was doing mindfulness. I've been doing mindfulness on my own for about 3 years.
Hmm.
I have my own practice, like just doing it every day, and
Hmm.
it was more intense because I actually got uh I actually had an hour each Monday for 8 weeks, and someone really trained me in the kind of different meditations that there is and stuff. And we part of this program is that we get, when we sign up for the program, we also get a healthy portal. It's a website, and you log in to it, and you could talk to the teachers or the other students, and
Hmm.
they give you all the lessons in the portal. So you go to the portal, you click on the lesson, and they, and with the mindfulness, they give you all the mindfulness lessons that they teach you. With the exercise, they give you all the exercise they teach you, and they just don't teach you exercise. They go into why the exercise is good for the
So it's
that
so it's an
area.
explanation. It's an explanation of what it does, what it's about.
Yeah, yeah,
You know the reason that you're doing that.
yeah,
I like that, and I can relate to that from a martial arts standpoint
yeah,
because the fact that one thing about the program that I'm liking already is, like I said, it's adaptable. Being
yeah,
that some
yeah,
people can only move one side, some people can only move one arm.
yeah,
So it makes it work for you. But the thing about it is, from a martial arts standpoint, a lot of people will ask me, well, you don't kick. What if somebody tries to kick you? How do you defend it? And you can go into why or why you wouldn't, and it makes it more explainable, which is,
Yes.
and mentally you're going, wow, I didn't think of that, or I didn't know about that. So that's, I mean, so really the program is in essence mentoring you. Actually,
Yes. Yes. Yes.
that's pretty
Yes.
awesome.
Yeah.
How long have you been doing the program now?
So I'm done with it. It's only an 8-week program.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're done with the 8 weeks, you get to keep the portal. So for as long as the government doing the
Mm-hmm.
program, the portal will be open to you,
Mm-hmm.
and you obviously get all the exercise and all the nutrition and all the mindfulness stuff. And then on Fridays, we had a 45-minute kind of health coaching class.
Mm-hmm.
It was basically everything we did that week, and then they have they give you a notebook in your package, and you a journal. You're supposed to do your self reflecting in the journal, but on the first page is all their motto, or I don't know what the word for it is,
Mantra.
mantra.
Mm-hmm.
They call it a scoreboard, a scorecard.
Mm-hmm.
And what we learn in the Friday class is we take the scorecard, and then teacher explains each, has a day of talking about one or two subjects, and then you go back and you reflect in your journal about what that scorecard means to you.
What would you say in that 8-week program was the hardest thing to do?
Keeping up with all the writing, I mean, 'cause you know me, I like to write, so I wrote more than I should.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm still working on some of the essays I should have handed in during the class, but I actually talked to the teachers, and I'm taking the essays I did in class, and they will probably be on my website, on my blog
Mm-hmm.
soon.
Mm-hmm. Now
Yeah.
you were talking about the eating healthy and all of that and going into the nutrition. Now, do you have like a dietitian or a nutritionist that you talk to or you can still talk to, or?
So during the program, they really encourage you to talk to your talk to the teachers one to one, like every week or every other week.
Mm-hmm.
So I got a personal nutrition coach once a week for 8 weeks
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because I wanted to work on nutrition.
Awesome.
But then we have a general nutrition class where they talk about general nutrition stuff, and that class also should have been 2 days a week because the labs between the exercising and the nutrition the talking aspect, and then the labs, there were never enough time, and we always went overtime.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so cool we learned some cool recipes. We also learned about some cool equipment that you could get to use in the kitchen.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
once the program was over and you had all of this, what was it like to manage yourself, so to speak, once a lot of the help was over, and you say, okay,
Excuse me. The class just finished like a white about a week or two ago.
okay,
And
how was the 2 weeks been without without the class and managing it yourself?
it's difficult, but it's also more difficult because the last 2 weeks of class I got sick with gallstones.
Yeah,
So
oof. We were just talking about that off the air. Woo.
I I actually have to change up my nutrition habits because of my gallstones. So
Yeah, a lot of that. I had a friend that um basically was going to have her gallbladder removed, but changed her diet, and
yeah,
it's a big change. It's a big deal.
yeah,
But it was so much healthier for her in the end, um, and it made a big difference as far as the attacks, because those things I I saw her go through one, and I'm like, I never ever ever want to see that again. No, no, no.
yeah,
I literally, it just, but it's so funny because you think about all the stuff that you eat and all the toxic stuff that you put in your body, and it's like, oh man, now I can't eat this, and I can't eat this, and I can't drink this, and I can't. But if you look at it, you're so much healthier in the end, and you detoxify yourself, which is something that everybody needs eventually. Now we've got a question from one of my friends, Tony. He asked, "Do you use any of the adaptive kitchen aids now?"
there were some that I do have to get, and they're all on Amazon. There is a and I would think you would love it, DJ, because you're a cook. There is a cutting board designed for people with disabilities.
Mm-hmm.
It has like 4 prongs on it. So, like, if you wanted to cut an apple, but the apple keeps rolling on you,
Mm-hmm.
you just stick it to the prong, and then you cut the apple, and the apple doesn't.
Oh, that is it. Do you know what the cutting board is called? I mean, is it a
I could look it up on Amazon. Everything was, everything they showed us was
okay?
obviously on
Well, when
Amazon.
you actually look up the stuff, and when you find it, go back into Facebook and put
Yeah,
it in the comments, and people can.
yeah, yeah. And then there was um rubber thing that, like, if you have trouble, like, if you're working with a large bowl and the
Mhm.
bowl is like sliding all over the table, there was this thing you put the bowl into it, and it just the bowl won't slide.
Nice. There's some other. I mean, it's not exactly like that, but there's a couple of things that I use. Actually, Miss Winnie got them for me last Christmas. There's a cutting board that I use that folds so that it goes into the stuff goes into the bowl easier, and then I have these bowls that have this red cylinder on the bottom of it that stick to the table
Yeah,
so that
I
they don't
think that's
slide.
what it was. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
And then with the cutting board, it's funny because there is a small cutting board with just the prongs in it, and then like a little square. So like if you're buttering a piece of bread or something, it could stay in the little square while you're buttering it.
That's actually there's not a lot of. I mean, there's some, but I that's cool to find that there is some adaptive equipment for people with disabilities. Because I know Jody, who can only use one arm, she,
Yeah.
I thought I was a cook, man. And she's like, I did this and this and this and this. And I'm like, how in the world did you do that? She goes, I used a biscuit cutter. I'm like, you what? You know,
Yeah.
and she showed me. She got a one-handed knife and a pair of one-handed kitchen scissors and like different. And I'm like,
Yeah. So
man,
this class, I mean, like with the gym and the nutrition, like I was telling you offline, they
mhm,
also explain on how they, what the purpose for this and this, and then it was real cool. I mean,
mhm,
I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot. Yeah, and I was thinking, what if I took this 20 years ago and I really accept what I'm learning?
mhm.
Or what if I took this 20 years from now? What would I take away from 20 years ago now and 20 years from now? I would take away probably different
Are you
things.
are you able to? This is kind of a two-part question, but are you able to take the class again?
Actually, no. So this is the first step into doing other classes with them.
Mm-hmm.
So, like in January, I'm gonna hopefully, if they remember to put me in to it, I'm gonna do what called M to M, music, motion to music.
Whoa,
So, yeah.
that's actually kind of cool sounding.
Yeah, yeah.
Is that another 8-week class?
I don't know how long it is.
Mhm.
It's just a exercise class. You get a couple of days a week.
Okay. So you went through all that, and let's go back for a second. When you started, you had said you thought it was something totally different than what you expected. You got all the equipment, and you're like, I was expecting books and this and that, and I got all this equipment, and now I'm doing this, and you go through the 8 weeks. So what during the 8 weeks did you set a goal for yourself? Do you feel like?
Yes. So that's one of the probably the first writing prompt you get.
Mhm,
You have to within the first week of class, you have to set a goal for yourself.
mhm,
And the goal could be anything you want. My goal was to learn about myself and learn better habits for myself.
mhm. Do you feel like do you feel like you accomplished that?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Would you mind sharing what you learned about yourself that you didn't know?
That's very interesting. Cause a lot of the self reflection essays we had to write were I had to write one on spirituality.
Mhm,
And you know, me, I never. My family gave me the basics of
right, right.
basic stuff of your religion, and then when we were old enough, they said,
Mhm,
"Okay, you're old enough to make your choice." And I always fought with myself because I see a lot of people with disabilities trusting God or whoever they consider to be a
mhm, mhm.
higher power.
Right.
And I I have a love hate relationship with God. I mean, I respect him, but I also am mad at him for giving me a disability. But I also respect him because he gave me a disability that I could handle.
Mm-hmm.
And I did a whole paper on spirituality,
Mm-hmm.
and all my essays related back to my CP and related how, like, you know, we did the whole section on core values.
Mm-hmm.
And, I always knew kind of about core values, but living on my own, I kind of always wanted to know more. I know I have the core values my family gave me, but now I'm on my own.
You
How
want
do
your
I
own.
integrate them?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it was very interesting to read about core values.
Did you find a specific core value where you went, wow, I can, I didn't realize I had that, because I
Yeah,
get what you're saying. When your family installs it, it's one thing, and
yeah,
it kind of, it either sticks or it doesn't. You're going to use
yeah,
it or you're not. When you find out the core value yourself, and when you apply it to your everyday life, when you're on your own, it seems to stick more because you're like, okay, I figured this out because this core
yeah,
value works because. Did you
yeah.
figure out one specifically?
I think everything I wrote about sticks out to me. Nothing specifically stuck out because I guess volunteering, giving back to the community has always been one of my very favorite things to do in the
Mhm.
world because people have given so much to me over my lifetime and has helped me over my lifetime.
Sure.
And
Mhm.
I may not be good with physically giving back, but I'm good with emotionally giving back.
I listened to that statement, and in the first 30 minutes of the show, people can say that they may not be good with physically giving back, but when you really think about it, what you're doing in explaining this, talking about the class, talking about what you went through, yes, it's emotional, yes, it's mental, but it's also physically giving back because there are people that never knew, myself
Yeah,
included. So, I was going to mention this, when we first started, but you mentioned the class, and I'm like, hmm, you've mentored before, because we were talking about mentoring, and I'm like, you mentored before. Was it 2 days a week you mentored before a while back?
yeah, yeah,
And now looking at this class and finding out more about yourself, I think the more you find out about yourself and realize what you're able to do here, the more you're going to give back
yeah,
as you develop and learn and say, okay, I can handle this, and this. And I mean, there's going to be those days where you're like, all right, this is Tuesday. I got to get through. I got to have a me day, which I mean,
yeah,
which is important. But the core values that your family establishes, you're going to have those,
yeah.
but you have to decide at any point, am I going to use this? Am I going to use this? And it's going to come or go. Some of them you're going to use at some point. Some of them you're not.
And that's one of the things we talked about in class. I mean, yes, your family does hopefully give you very good core values.
Mm-hmm.
But what happens if, you know, you get married and your partner's core values are different than yours? Are you,
That's a good question.
are you, and even with any relationship, you, I think the deeper the relation and core, this is what got me too. I think with the core values, it could go with any relationship.
Hmm.
It's like you and me, let's say. We built a friendship.
Hmm.
How thick is our how thick does our friendship go? And
Right.
some of it's based on, okay, do we have similar, we might not have the same, but do we have similar core values?
And I think too, you mentioned something that I want to go back to. Relationship wise, it,
Yeah,
it's important before anything is established. You're looking at I am me and you are you, and
yeah.
that's okay to begin with. I think because I don't think that all core values have to be the same, like you said, and I don't think all
No, they don't, but I just think that, similar, like, okay, we both like giving back, but
right,
how
right.
do we give back? We might give back in different ways.
Yeah, it's I may volunteer at a pet shelter. You may volunteer at a food bank.
Yeah,
You may go to a nursing home and read to the elderly for 45 minutes to an hour. I may go and deliver Meals on Wheels. No pun intended.
yeah, yeah,
It's one of those
yeah.
things. But I get where you're coming from. The comment here is. Um, if you feel you can't help yourself, how are you going to help another, or how are you going to help others?
Exactly.
So you always have to think of yourself others have you think of yourself first and think of others second, which is true. But the hard part about that is when life happens, people spend so much time putting other people first that they forget about
Yeah,
how to say, okay, what's important to me? What do I
yeah,
want to do? And it always happens where it seems to get tangled. But you talk about, friendship first. I think
yeah.
that's probably one of the biggest issues because they go from I'm here and now I want to get to there. But you go from A to S and you've missed all the letters in between there to find out what the
And
person's
then
about.
I think that is, and going back to me, I think that something that I learned from being in the CP community,
Hmm.
because
Hmm.
like we all want to be loved, we all want to have a partner in life, and
Hmm.
sometimes when we get on these social media things like Facebook or Twitter or whatever we may do for the Cerebral Palsy community, we're
Hmm.
all like, oh my god, this person is so good looking. Let me see if I can like start something with them. And we only know each other from the internet.
and and some of that, and again, you hit a couple of points that I'll just mention, not trying to be Dr. Phil or anything like that, but
Yeah,
but going back, it I don't think I think there is alone, and I think some alone time is okay, and some people flourish by themselves. Some people
yeah.
like being by themselves. Some people are secluded. Some people are recluse. Some people are drawn in. They're introverted, and that's okay. But then you meet somebody that shows you, wow, I'm not as introverted as I thought I was. I do this and I do that, and I can do this and I can do that, and they bring your best out of you, and to the point where you go, why are you pushing me so hard? Because I know you can do it. And then it becomes they start questioning what they really want. But but going back and forth to where if you're weak on something, your other half may be strong, and they can show you, look, try this. But everything doesn't have to be the same. Everything doesn't have to be, you
No,
know,
no.
you're gonna like different things. You're gonna do different things, and that's
Oh,
okay.
yeah, yeah, definitely. Different things make a relationship grow. It's just
Yeah,
how do you how do you bridge that gap between, okay, you like sleeping at night where I like sleeping
right.
during the day?
Yeah, yeah. I think there's the old term opposites attract.
Yeah,
Well, you've got to think about what are you attracted to.
yeah.
If it's just physical and there's nothing else,
Yeah, then there's
it's
nothing.
it's the same thing that I said. I did a video a while back. I did what I call my top four. Do they make you happy? Um, what do
Do
they
they
bring? What do they? Yeah, do they make you happy? Is one. What do they bring to the table? Is two. Can you live without them? Is three. And why? Is four. And
well I would have to add the fifth one to that and say, do they challenge you enough to say, okay, I could do this, and my partner pushes me because they know I could do this.
well, and that's the same thing of what do they bring to the table? Okay,
Yeah,
if somebody, if you're dating somebody and they are at home all the time, they don't have a job, they stand there with their hand in their butt crack all day long. They're not gonna, not that they would do that, but they're not gonna do much. If they dress nice, if they are positive, if they support you, if they are you know in there with you when you're trying to win a battle, are they supporting you, or are they saying, hey, yeah, you shouldn't do that, it's too hard? you know what about it makes them love you? What about them makes you like, what about them
and,
makes you like you?
and
Or
what challenges you? It's like with you and me, we could challenge each other to a blue in the face, but that's why we get along, because we challenge each other, because we know the other one can do it.
well, and the same thing is with cerebral palsy. Even though the cases are different,
Yeah.
there's a common ground.
You,
There's a common struggle with cerebral palsy. So when you find a female or a male that has cerebral palsy, regardless of the
challenges.
yeah, the
That,
challenges or severity,
that but that's a good, you bring up a good situation, because like that's a commonality. That's what starts the fire, let's say.
well,
If you
but
like
see, I don't,
either.
and I guess the drawback there, and a lot of people will go, wait a minute, you can't say that. I don't want to date somebody just
No,
because they have
no.
a CP.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Exactly. That's why I was getting at, because I dated someone with CP and we're really good friends. We've always been really good friends, but personality wise, we may not have the same values as,
The other person.
no, yeah,
Mhm.
and our challenges from our CPs are vastly different.
Well, there was a realization that I had, and not trying to stay on the topics of relationships for per se, but
Yeah,
there was a challenge that I had in realizing that sometimes cerebral palsy makes communication difficult, and it's not,
exactly.
and it's not because they can't communicate. And I can hear
No,
somebody going, "You've got CP. What are you talking about?" That's not what I'm saying.
it just,
If we look at, I'll give you an example. Cerebral palsy causes me severe visual spatial stuff. Like they say,
Yeah.
turn a
Yeah.
chair upside down in your head, and
Yeah.
I'm going, uh-uh.
No.
It doesn't work that way. But if someone says, I'm trying to say to you this, but they're struggling to get their words out,
Exactly.
this has to communicate down to here, down to here, down to here, and
Exactly.
the words have to come out not only for what they want to say, but how they want to relate it to not totally look like a butthole or say that they're saying the wrong thing.
You
And
know, our, our minds go so fast, but it doesn't come out as fast as it goes into our minds. That's why when I write, I have to have someone check it because I may forget a chunk because
yeah,
I'm thinking of it, but it didn't come out in my hands yet because my hands are so.
well, and to think about it, the and a lot of people, whether you have a disability or not, are not going to not going to understand this. Hey, Siobhan, welcome to the show. Thank you for being here. We appreciate it. I the brain and the mouth are a long ways away, and I say that women speak in blue and men think in green. Okay, and the reason I say that is because it's something that you have to adjust to. But if you're not able to communicate what you consider well, start simple. Don't Some people, all they know how to do when a situation comes up is shut down, or some people talk too much. Sometimes, dialogue communication is an option, but there's always a way to not get frustrated at the idea of what the problem is. And I think CP sometimes gets in the way
Oh yeah, definitely.
of forgetting. And even on my, because for the most part, my brain is not affected. Okay. And I say for the most part is I can think and process faster than most.
You
But
know what? And you bring up a wonderful point with the processing of a person with CP, because yes, CP is not a mental disability. However, the processing of a person with CP is like because the lack of oxygen wherever it happened in
Mhm.
the brain when you were born does hinder the way we
Yeah.
think at times. I want to say, or
No, no,
uh,
no, no. It
get words out.
wherever the damage occurred, because cerebral palsy is ultimately brain damage in some form.
Yeah,
So wherever the damage occurred, there's a point in your brain where, if you think about, I'll break it down this way, where we don't use CP at all. You think about a computer. Okay, a computer has all these working parts, but then the memory starts going bad. Okay,
yeah,
and you have to pull that memory out and replace the memory. Well, with cerebral palsy, you can't do that. You've got the system that you've got, and
yeah.
that's what's in there. When things start tripping or spazzing out, it's going to happen. Okay,
And,
but
and it's also the fact that we can be very sheltered growing up
some
with,
of us can. Mm-hmm.
yeah, and then there's some that just doesn't really understand because their family never really explained it to them, or
Because
maybe
they didn't know.
yeah,
Because they didn't. And you go back, and again, we're getting into a big topic here with about 10 minutes left in the show, but we'll try to do the best we can. A big part of cerebral palsy is fear.
yeah,
And if you don't ask, you're not going to understand. But I'm talking about the processing. Some women can process like that. They they are and it's done. Some have to take hours, some have to take days, some have, depending on the majorness of the situation, some have to take a week.
And
Because
it's not just, I mean, if you're talking about women in general, okay. But if you're talking about the CP woman, I'm not gonna say you're right or wrong, but I'm gonna just say I think generally it's the whole CP population.
yeah, I'm speaking in general, not just with CP, because I don't like to label it that way. If you
Yeah.
have CP, you're going to have this problem. You can, you can. It doesn't mean that you're going to. There are certain things that women can say to me, and know the right things to say at the right time, and then there are other things that you go, why in the world did you just say that to me? Like you do something and you know what you've done and you go, oh, that was stupid. And you insult yourself, but yet you don't, solve the issue by saying, okay, let's not do that again. But then again you do. It's a learning experience, We're still, even at 40 years of age, I'm still learning. Everybody is going to make mistakes every day. It's what you do after you make the mistake. Can you own up to it and say, hey, it very much can be that it came out wrong. That's the number one thing I think with CP is when you're trying to say something and you're trying to process it at the same time, and you say it before you process it, and you go, whoops, and I'm like, I can't, I can't take them. You can't take it back once you say it. Cindy said this. I love this right here. She said, and then when you get older, you have things that come with that too. So you just have to learn to go with the flow.
Exactly.
I think the majority of it is you don't. It is very hard for me to filter myself.
You're just DJ. You're just DJ. That's your personality.
I can be filtered.
I'm not gonna say it's a man thing. I'm just gonna say it's a DJ thing because it's your personality.
I mean, for me, I can be filtered, but I'm not going to filter myself when I say something, if that makes sense. Yeah. I'm not going to go into a room of 5-year-old children and go, all mothers are stupid, because that's not going to make sense. But if I'm trying to explain something, I'm going to try my best to explain it on their level. And this is kind of the last thing I want to cover on this because we're running short. I think you have to remember with CP, regardless of the person, everybody with CP is on their own level. They may not be on yours, or you may not be on theirs.
Exactly.
And please don't think of it as slow or fast, because that's not what I'm talking about. No. There are where Marie may not speak as fast as I'm speaking, and she has to struggle a little bit to get the I don't know if the right words process
out.
Words or process out. It doesn't mean that she can't speak it. It just means that it takes her a little longer, and you got to shut up and listen.
And I also think that's this last half hour is a great topic for another session. I also think that that's where it comes in when we as a group, as a cerebral palsy community, don't get along within the cerebral palsy community. Because I find myself, when I'm involved in the cerebral palsy community too much, I find that I get more people in the community hurt me more than people outside my community.
And I think it depends on the topic that you're talking about, because when you get a room full of cerebral palsy people, you think they're all the same.
No.
But
And
that's where you're 10 minutes later bashing your head in the wall going, I don't understand. How did it get to this point? Because the struggle is real, but the struggle is different. And I think the outside cerebral palsy community, you may be able to talk to, but some of them are not going to relate the way the inside of the community can, and vice versa. Sometimes, and please don't take this the wrong way, sometimes I got to take a break. I can't have CP1, CP2, CP12, CP15 because you're trying to, in all of the differences of the disability itself, you still got to remember it's not the disability that you're talking to, it's the person.
Yep.
And if you're trying to figure out
that's what it is. It's like we're people with the label CP, and people outside of the community think one thing.
right.
People inside the community think another thing, and
It clashes.
what? Yes, we clash at
Mm-hmm.
times, and I know I clash with you at times, and you clash with me at times.
But that's because we both have very strong and vocal personalities. We're both.
Yeah.
I figured out a long time ago that we're both leaders, and when we're in a group of people, our personalities come out, and it's like, okay.
Yeah,
but that's okay, because there can be more than one leader, there can be more than one group, there can be more than one way to do it. I don't want CP to be labeled as cerebral palsy. I don't I don't want the label to be that, because it's not just cerebral palsy.
It's only our wrapping. It's only our wrapping.
I think, to end the show, I'll say this. I think if you diagnose a person with CP, you diagnose a person who is standing, you diagnose a person who is sitting in a chair, you diagnose a person with no feet, okay? You have 4 people standing in a row, or sitting in a row, or being in a row in some way, shape, or form. You cut them open and you look at what they are, female or male, although from different parts. You go into the inside, you're going to look at a couple of things. You're going to see a brain, for the most part. You're going to see a heart,
maybe not you,
for the most part, and you're going to see, blood and everything that's inside of them that makes them tick. So if we can get past the cerebral palsy level and say this person has cerebral palsy, big deal. Get past the disability and learn about the person and how they communicate and how they process and how they do things, then you can figure them out. Once you figure them out, but it's the same way in life. You've got to figure it out before you just say, oh, I can't be with them. I can't talk to them because they have. Mm-hmm.
But when you figure them out, don't assume that you're figuring them out to a T, because if you assume that you're figuring them out to a T, then you're just making an ass of yourself.
No. Nobody knows everything about everybody. When I say figure them out, I mean learn what makes them tick. Okay? I'm not intentionally going to call a female a certain word because they're going to get irritated. I'm not going to intentionally go to a male and kick him in the nuts and say, whoops, I didn't mean to do that.
I would. That's a different story, you know that.
But honestly, I think it's more learning about the person. If you can put the disability aside for a second, you can learn about the person. And I think
Yes.
that's the communication barrier that a lot of people have, disability or not. They see disability forefront and they freak out because they
They,
don't know how to get
I,
around what they see.
I do this thing on my blog. It's called rapping. And it's just what we're wrapped in. You know,
Yeah.
we're not that pretty present under the tree. I
I
wrap
don't know about you, but I come in gold wrapping. I got ribbons and bows
the
and
thing.
glitter. And
My wrapping is so disorganized that I don't know what's up or down half the
but
time.
if you think about it, and we'll end with this because we're a little bit over time. But if you think about it, if you look at a present, what's the first thing that you do when you go to open it?
You shake it.
Well, but you rip off the wrapping.
Yeah,
Okay.
and the
'Cause-
wrapping
Well,
is just.
you can't rip off CP because it's part of
But
who you are.
and you're right. That's why I'm saying it's a wrapping, and the way you could get through the wrapping is to get to know the person minus the disability.
Well, either that or just poke a little hole and talk to them through the hole until they say, "Hey."
Well,
I mean, that's the easy way to do it. But I want to thank you for being on the show, Marie. This was fun. Like I said, it's been a couple of years since she's been on, and we got her scheduled and everything, and just continue to do great things. I know that you're mentoring, you're doing well. Congratulations on being on your own and just going through your courses and just figuring out life. I know you've been more healthy with walking and running and doing different 5Ks and some other stuff. Yeah, so just keep being you and just keep taking life one day at a time and enjoying it. What an awesome show. And again, thank you for being here. I was so glad to have you. I love you to death. I mean,
love you to death too.
but we will let you guys go for now. We'll be available next Wednesday at 7 p.m. on Let Go Radio and the Disabled the Global Disabled don't mess it up. Disabled Global Broadcast, and on Facebook, YouTube, and many other places. As I say, if you can't be good, be bad, but be good at it. This is D to the J with a roll away, saying we'll see you next week for another exciting episode of My CP Does Not Define Me. Have a great night, everybody.
All right, everybody. That's going to do it for this week's episode of My CP Does Not Define Me. As always, you can catch us every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, live on the Disability Global Broadcast, Facebook Live, and on www.letgoradio.net. Also, if you haven't already checked out our YouTube channel, My CP Does Not Define Me, where we post all of our show's episodes in our My CP playlist. As always, I'm your host, D to the J with the roll away. If you can't be good, be bad, but be good at it. We'll see you next week.